And we're back with WCS NA Challenger, and we are going to be hopping into our next series. My name is Fear Dragon. I'm joined now on the desk by In Control, and we are almost ready to get started in our next all-in matchup.
This is going to be amazing, Fear Dragon. How excited are you for NoRegret versus Zeal?
You know, I'm legitimately really excited, because this is the epitome of NA StarCraft for me, all right? This is when we get to see someone who has a reputation as doing something that's not normal, that's not considered quote-unquote good, like NoRegret, all-inning every single game, going up against a guy who is a ladder hero in a lot of ways. He's had some performances in WCS in the past, in like 2015, maybe 2013 or something.
What?
But,
really?
Yeah, Zeal is actually, he's been around for a while. I do distinctly remember him also like denying Scarlet from a WCS Challenger performance where she got knocked on like the last qualifier by Zeal. But
what was his other name?
Huh? It was just Zeal.
It was Zeal?
It was Zeal. He's just been like an NA ladder hero for a really long time and was known for being a little bit all-in, a little bit cheeky, especially back in Heart of the Swarm. And he's kind of back after a long break, so it's cool.
It'll be interesting. Both these guys had a rough start to the day, I would say.
Yeah.
NoRegret a little bit less so than Zeal, perhaps. But one of these two guys can advance. So they can both play even worse StarCraft if they want, but one of the two of them is going to win.
This is a fact of life.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to get a tie. I feel like it's difficult to get a tie with Protoss versus Zerg.
Yes. Very rare. It usually has a Terran involved somehow. Yeah, it would have to be like you just could not kill them, and if they were to move out from that position, they would also die. I
had exactly one where it was on like one of my ladder games where I had DTs walling off a ramp on a hold position, and they just couldn't get up. And I couldn't go kill them because they had a spore crawler or something with no creep doomers.
That would be it. It would have to be the Protoss is not mining, and then some situation if they have something you can't kill when they're also not mining. It's rare.
Very rare.
We spent a lot of time talking about that. That's not going to happen here, probably.
No, probably not. But we are pretty much lost in this train of thought on Lost and Found.
Oh, God.
You know, I don't do this with Nate, actually. I only do it to you.
Well, Nate would, like, churn it through the meme machine, so you can't really do it with him because it just come out.
He'd just be like, no, nice.
Maybe something millennial after what you said, but with me, you get to feel you can see the pain, and I think that's what a dad joke's supposed to do anyways.
Yeah. Okay, well, we're going to be starting down here in the bottom left-hand side of Lost and Found. It is our red Zerg player, NoRegret.
Jake Uppleby. Humblebee.
Jake Humblebee is what he prefers to be called. Humblebee?
That's cute. I like that.
Spawning up here in the top right, we have our blue Protoss player. He is Zeal.
Valentin Monfrontscheifer. Wow, that name.
You took a gamble there.
Well, I didn't know I was going in that deep, right? Like I knew to expect the first part. Production, I'm going to challenge you guys, and you know, in the past they've just not done it. Can we pull up that nameplate again? On Zeal? How responsive is production?
We're going to find out. Oh,
thank you guys.
Wow.
Valentin Monfort-Scheifer. That's a vampire.
I wouldn't doubt it.
He's a vampire. Yeah, no, I've seen a vampire before, and I know the signs. So we can commentate this, and that's fine because he's not here. It's online. But I just kind of want to put it out there. If he advances out of this group, I will not attend the same WCS because I'm going to die an old man in bed asleep, not to a vampire.
Okay, that's fair enough.
I promised my mother that.
All right. Well, we have a pretty normal opening from both sides. We got the hatch gas pool over here from NoRegret. He's not actually going to be flooding out Lings yet. I know he is very much a player that loves to go for especially things like the Ling flood just a little bit later on where you try and pick off that pylon. You can go for either the Baneling busts especially, I think, have become a lot more common in the matchup these days.
Yeah, and we may or may not see that. That definitely is like the true NoRegret all-in type of thing, but I think one of the things to limelight that you have to be aware of in a matchup against him is certainly the tendency to go crazy with something like that, but what's perhaps a bit more likely and just as dangerous and scary is that NoRegret will do the very typical, at least at face value, Ling, Hydra, Baneling, but he'll do things like undersaturate the third, cut out upgrades, not take a fourth, you know, and really go for that like, oh, I've seen this timing attack before, but he'll have 15 extra Hydras or 20 extra Banelings, and that little extra oomph can really catch people off guard. Now, of course, the tipping point there is if you hold that off or you have a good engagement for you as the Protoss player, well, then he's mostly dead because there's no follow-up of any value behind it. But that is something you have to look out for in this matchup with him.
Okay, Ling's chasing around that probe. Will eventually be able to pick it off, it looks like. But the Adept is also coming on forward, so it might be able to save it.
I need a savior. Nope. It's the one shot. Keep scouting.
Well, still going to be able to save that probe for now, and does confirm that third base. The Adept can now just focus on moving over to the main base, maybe picking off another worker or two, but no, just keeping it alive, staying safe, and going for the Phoenix first.
Very reasonable. This has become one of the normal openings here as well. The Overlord, of course, parked over the top of that, definitely sees it. But this has become the PvZ opening. The Phoenix, of course, give you a lot of map control. They're also quite good against some of those scary timing attacks we did see with Ravagers and Lings in the earlier part of Legacy of the Void. Give you that semblance of map control. But then if you watch someone like Parting, he actually does really interesting things, kind of like this, where he'll go Phoenix, Oracle, and then stop producing it, make a Robo, and go for some pretty crazy aggression. You can see Archon drops off the back of that. You can see the Zealot timing attack. So it kind of acts as that cookie cutter opening that is like, okay, you know this part of it, but the follow-up you are not sure about.
All right, Ling's poking at the front. They're going to confirm, okay, yeah, Phoenix is still around here, just spotting around for Overlords. NoRegret is doing a great job of just not having Overlords out on the map. This is, like you said, such a common follow-up that you can kind of prepare for that. But Twilight Council is going to be the next move here for Zeal. And is this just, do you think, going to lead into like the pretty standard Archon drop that we see a lot also?
A lot of people do that. There is no Robo, though. So unless I missed that, which I miss stuff from time to time, but there is none. So from there, I'm a little bit confused. You don't usually throw down a Dark Shrine. That would be kind of weird because the Stargate units kind of force out Spore Crawlers and they're just standard anyways. So then it's like, you could go Charge, but if they just end up going Roaches, that's a problem. He's going to go with the Glaive upgrade. That's okay. I personally find this tough as well, because I think a lot of players just go Roach, and then you're not really like favored there. Can you hold? Yes, but you're not like in an amazing position. So it's a little bit of a like pivoting spot. It's not what you're going to do, it's what you're doing for now, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I think that this Phoenix should be able to get some scouting information. There's also a couple of Lings over by the third base. The Adepts, they shade into the middle of the map, but the Oracle is going to be enough to force things back for now.
Ravi ramping it up there. Calm it down here for a second.
I mean, for a moment, I realized that the Oracle might be out of energy. But
Poppy Oracle's always got energy. Just ask any Terran or a Zerg player.
My Oracles never have energy, it feels like.
Mine are never alive. Keeping alive's a marvel for me. I'm like, that's so cool in theory, but I just always lose mine. A lot of Lings out here, and that is the Humblebee way of life. It's good, and then you just got to keep your eye on that production tab. So right now, 48 drones. It's got some more coming out, but there are some Roaches. Yep. And I believe the Hydra Den. Did I see that?
Yep, Hydra Den.
So Roach Hydra also not the most common. If you make Roaches, you can obviously go into Hydra, but that's not necessarily the most common pairing. It kind of doubles down on them both being a little bit larva inefficient, a little bit supply dense, and they get countered by similar things, right? Like a heavy number of Immortals, Disruptors, that all is really good against them. So we'll have to see if he is still making Roaches. Will we Toledo?
Yeah, and we're starting to see the charge upgrades starting to come out over here for Zeal. He hasn't quite warped in a whole lot of Zealots just yet, so he's still relying mostly on those Adepts for now. But with the double Robo, you can start pumping out Immortals and get into the more traditional composition for a lot of Protoss players. Minus, I would say, the Archons that he's still missing.
So when you play NoRegret, by the way, for those of you that saw the very nicely well done movie A Quiet Place, anytime those characters made a sound, monsters were hunting them. When you play NoRegret, anytime there's not a perfect wall in, Lings will come running in. So kind of keep that storyline at the forefront of your mind as you watch this game, and NoRegret will check. He just kind of runs by, and if that hole ever gets popped open, in comes the Humblebee.
Well, that's how he wins his games.
Yep.
Okay, but
sometimes if it's not open, in comes the Humblebee.
Yeah, occasionally he just does force his way forward if he sees that you're kind of too far out of position.
Yeah.
Temple Archives is finally being thrown down over here. So Zeal is making a very slow and gradual tech up to the normal Protoss composition. I like that. It's kind of going back to what you were saying. NoRegret, probably going to look for an opportunity to pounce if he gets ever an opportunity. So might as well just do it very slowly and safely.
61 workers, literally 1 off of 3 base saturation. He's taking a 4th because I think that's what, you know, you're basically obligated to do as a Zerg, but he is holding down the production key, and this is it. It's just going to be endless swaths of, and as I said, of course, he's making 7 drones, so I just stopped talking right now, but good luck. Good luck getting through that right there. It's not a lot of space, and it's got 5 Immortals just parked there.
Oh, he's actually going not toward the 3rd. He's going to go up the ramp, and I think he's actually going to be able to make it here. Phoenix, or sorry, the Sentries, I managed to land a couple of force fields, and these are some really on-point force fields. Perfectly placed.
Beautiful is what we say as commentators when it's force fields like that. That is the first wave. All the roaches are gone, and that was the roaches. So now it's the soft underbelly of Hydras. And those force fields are the you're not going anywhere force fields. You're trapped here with me. NoRegret takes a fight that, I mean, again, if we're using movie kind of reference points, you know the guy in Return of the Jedi that they throw down into the pit to fight the Rancor?
Yeah.
The guy doesn't have a good time, right? Just kind of gets picked up and bitten in half. That's what just happened there.
Okay. Zeal now moves his Warp Prism forward finally and says, oh, okay, it looks like I see some roaches here. I don't really want to commit too heavily to this. The Adepts shade over to the natural. They find a couple of drones.
That's nice. Any, like 2 or 3 drones is just fantastic for that. He gets 4. It's fine. The biggest thing here is keeping the Warp Prism alive. As long as he keeps that alive, because when you're facing a player that's on low econ, like they just went for a huge attack, it didn't really work out, any kind of worker harass is just twisting that knife so bad. It's just not able to close the wound. Now, this is a way to get back in, though, by the way, from NoRegret. If he can get lurkers up, they take weird, surprising fights. Protoss players still have a tough time with those lurkers.
Yeah, there are still 6 Immortals out in the map, and Immortals do fairly well versus lurkers, arguably. But if Zeal commits to an attack, he starts losing a handful of those Immortals. He's not reproducing any more of those. He's definitely got some supply. Okay, now he's starting up the Immortal production. Cast a curse.
It is beautiful, isn't it? Every time. I've been doing this long enough where I'm like, yeah, I'm going to say it, and I know what's going to happen, and there it is.
Just accept it.
You just accept it. It's a part of life. My favorite, though, is when they do get the pro gamers to commentate. They're like, well, in this position, he clearly will not make any more Marines. And then, like, 10 Marines get queued up, and you just sit there quietly, and you're like,
I think still one of my favorite...
pro gamer.
Yeah, still one of my favorite highlights from SC2HL is just them doing that at home story cup. It cuts to every single instance of it.
Oh, yeah. Sarkaz's a beautiful game. It's really tough.
NoRegret running a lot of these Lings in a little bit preemptively, not quite expecting the army there, and the Lurkers are not fully morphed in. They're all a little too far forward. He comes in with a nice little wrapper. He's going to get the Warp Prism.
Yeah, not bad.
But does he actually have enough of an army to hold the fort? I don't think he does.
No, he does not. Wow. So we've seen this a couple times today alone. Trying to morph in Banelings, and the opponent jumps on top of it. Today is just the bad luck day. NoRegret taps out. That was like 10 lurkers. If those are morphing somewhere else, yes, he's in danger of losing that fight if he commits to it. But the lurkers will at least keep him alive, and then something can happen. But to jump on top of the morphing lurkers, Zeal found some gold there. That was amazing.
Yeah,
good for him.
Like you said, if the lurkers are even just a little bit further back or something, then suddenly everything probably looks a lot harder there for Zeal to actually push into.
Still probably loses the 4th, so it's going to be bad. It's not like we go, well, then he just clearly wins the game. But to jump on top of lurkers morphing is obviously, it's just bad luck. It's kind of like when you find the Broodlords morphing. You're like, oh, you were going that route.
But I think this is all off the back of NoRegret. You were talking about this, trying to go for that big push in earlier on between the natural and the 3rd, and just getting force fielded really, really well, really excellently done there by Zeal, and losing so many units. That is kind of the point where NoRegret sort of had to go into the lurker den, had to try and play a little bit of catch up.
It's a big part of the reason why I don't like Roach Hydra either, because if you do a composition of like Ling, Baneling, Hydra, as long as you hold on to the majority of your Hydras, you can trade out Lings and Banelings, and it's a different kind of fight, where if you do get yourself in a bad situation, like, oh no, I lost 30 Zerglings, and that sucks, don't get me wrong, but when you lose 15 Roaches and 10, 15 Hydras, there's not really any coming back from that. It's very hard to do. And NoRegret went the route that he could to try and come back from that with lurkers, but just couldn't get there in time. And credit to Zeal as well, because some players do make the mistake, a lot of players, in fact, of getting a big advantage and then not really knowing what to do with that.
Yeah.
He took the 4th base, made sure that was safe, and then pushed forward, saw opening, and went for it. So that's the mark you want to see from a really good player.
Yeah, I feel like, honestly, the way that you describe Zeal in that game was safe. He never really went for double robo and let's throw it on the Temple Archives, or let's throw up a massive number of gateways while we take our 3rd and also get up a Twilight Council. Like, he did everything very one step at a time. It kind of reminds me almost how a lot of Zerg players will play ZVZ safely, where they're like, yeah, I'm gonna get up my Baneling Nest now, and I'll kind of like wait a few minutes. Now I'll get up my Roach Warren, wait a minute or two, now I'll get up and upgrade. I don't want to overcommit too much to this teching up.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the pitfalls of StarCraft. It can be difficult because, you know, so much of it is about speed, and we often talk about APM and stuff like that, but another kind of speed that you're talking about, Fear Dragon, which is very true, is just the speed and rapidity you go through your builds, the different decisions. A lot of it is mapped out, of course, so for that we don't really credit speed, but the adaptive speed of like, this is the direction I'm going to go, here's how fast I'm going to do it, here's how much I'm going to commit to it, it's tough. So we talk about it in pretty simple terms, but keep in mind these are Ender Wiggins of the world. These are the best commanders in the galaxy, man, except for everybody but Serral, probably, but they're pretty up there. They're pretty up there, and that was nicely done. And good for Zeal, by the way, because his other series was rough. He executed very well, but then made some kind of weird choices, and that cost him. And that's kind of, not to give too much of a credence to this, but that is kind of the like NA bug. Like, pretty good players, but in their series, they're going to make some weird choices, and it's going to cost them.
Speaking of some weird choices, it's not super weird, but I did find it also interesting, Zeal having gone for, I think it was a 3-gate Glaives attack, where he didn't even really commit too much to it. In fact, I don't think he actually ever went for a big attack, but it was something a bit different. It is a very different kind of opening after the Stargate that you don't see that often anymore.
I feel like it's, if he sees a lot of Lings, then that's a cool route to go, and he kind of gave himself that ability.
All right. Well, we're going to be starting up here in the top left, going for the double extractor trick. Oh boy, we got our red Zerg player, NoRegret. And spawning down here in the bottom right-hand side of the map, our blue Protoss player sitting up 1-0. It is Zeal.
Wow, interesting. To qualify for Challenger, he beat NoRegret.
Yep. That was, I think, his last match to qualify as well.
Okay. Wait, what? So, like, NoRegret had already qualified? Or no, the top 2 qualified?
No. Yeah, there were... It was a winner's bracket and loser's bracket.
Ah.
Yeah.
And NoRegret got through the lower bracket.
Yep.
We don't call it losers here for your Dragon. Everyone's a winner in StarCraft. No, they're not.
Yeah.
You were clearly correct. Probe's going to come in here and see fairly normal stuff. A weird thing to scout at this point in time would be no gas or maybe double gas, but you almost never see that. So all things checking out right now, which is what you want to see. Would love, you know, I got some good feedback, by the way. I was asking people about the ZBT, taking the pocket base as your natural versus the lower ground. A couple of guys reached out. Thank you very much. I always like, I prefer that kind of feedback, by the way, during our commentary. If people want to be like, here's my thought of that, that's totally fine and good. Even if we don't agree, I love it. So now my next one would be double drone trick. I obviously know that you get more than your supply at the time, but I also know, and this is terrible StarCraft logic, but it also is kind of true, the Koreans don't do it. Like, no Koreans do that, so that must mean it's worse, right? So
I don't know about the double extractor trick. I was really surprised because for a really long time, I was convinced that the extractor trick in Legacy of the Void with the 12 worker start was bad. Someone did the test and it convinced me that it was actually something that was decent to do. And they did it by, they checked the minerals mined at the like 3-minute mark.
Yeah.
And the minerals mined was actually like around 50 higher consistently for the extractor trick.
The way you're talking about this, though, has me feeling like it's 3 a.m. in a hotel room and I've hit that infomercial late at night where they're like, normally rubbing your skin with sandpaper is not good, but we did the test, you know?
When is
I'm not convinced is what I'm trying to say. Somebody convince me or tell me. I'd love to know. And so would other people, by the way. There's a lot of Zerg players out there looking for that edge. If it does come out ahead, then why aren't more people doing it? Ravi?
Well, hold on. We do have quite a few Lings that are actually poking their way forward. 8 Lings this early on. I guess getting aggressive, you keep the Adepts at home a little bit longer. That's kind of nice. Scouts the Stargate as well, but man, still no third at the 3-minute 20-second mark.
A little bit of a Rotterdam Wallen we got going on here.
Unfortunately, he's watching the chat, so.
Unfortunately, he's watching. You said unfortunately?
Yeah, you're kind of taking a little shot at
You don't
Rotterdam.
want him to watch WCS Season 2 Challenger?
No, I'm just saying, taking a little bit of a shot at him, right? A Rotterdam
well, you miss every
Wallen?
shot you don't take, Ruby.
Well, these Adepts are getting some good shots off on these Lings.
Oh my god.
Oracle is going to move forward. It does see that the third base is kind of on the later side. Yeah.
Very late.
3 minutes, 30 seconds. That's because of those early Lings that he made. And oh god, there's no spore callers.
Yeah.
Oh.
And it was only 8 Lings. So, I mean, can I get a shot of the Zerg base here and stuff? Like, what? I mean, it's not like this is dead territory, but the Oracle showing up and seeing a, like, 33% done hatch is crazy late. It's like a minute late or 2.
Mm-hmm. And I'm sort of
what? 8 Lings with speed?
I'm sort of surprised he hasn't tried moving into the main base just yet, because I feel like this is sort of the territory where you're like, okay, is this? Am I about to be attacked? Should I be moving out, or are you going to be moving out?
Well, you never know with NoRegret, right? And that is his poison. That's what he can kind of use to his advantage. And of course, it does come back to bite him sometimes, a lot of times actually. But
Baneling that's coming up, but also the Lair. Do you think this is just going to try and turn into something a little bit more normal, or do you think this is going to be something like a Baneling drop?
I know you're just trying to commentate StarCraft 2, but with NoRegret, I have a strong no prediction policy. Like, I'm just going to see where it goes. The Baneling nest could mean anything. You could be looking to drop
Baneling nest is a fake out so that he doesn't suspect the Hydra Den that's going to turn into a Spire.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, my normal instinct would be to say no to that, but yeah, maybe with him.
Yeah. Well, third base is going to come up here for Zeal, so he feels confident, or at least a little bit okay, trying to take this while he gets up Resident Enclaves, gets up his Adepts, and starts getting up some semblances, I imagine, of a defense. He isn't really moving out with the Adepts, so I do like the fact that he's at least staying at home.
I mean, as you say it, every time.
Well, maybe I'm just rooting for NoRegret, so I just want to keep saying that he's doing. Oh my god, that timing.
That's pretty funny.
The Phoenix does scout out these Lings, and he's not turning around, so he's committing to this. He feels like, you know what, this third base, I can either defend it with the Oracle, or it's not that important.
The Oracle is the anti-Linger. It's the anti-NoRegret. I mean, if you don't go Oracle, I guess, what are you doing with your life? So this third gets dislodged. It's not even that many drones. Hydras are already coming out. I think this was the plan from the beginning, but this aggression is going to snuff out what is coming. He's going to see the Banelings. He's going to see the Hydras already, and he safely gets back, and now Zeal will have a third to go home to. He's up in workers, not by a lot, mind you, but just the fact that he's up in workers as a Protoss versus Zerg at this stage of the game is redonkulous.
Yep. And getting up the Gateway Flood as well. 4 more gateways being added on so he can warp in more and more of those Adepts. Getting out some Immortals is also going to be helpful.
This is what I was talking about, by the way, in Game 1.
Yeah.
It's
the Hydraling
The second I'm going to mention he's going to make drones, but for right now, he's just making Hydras, Lings, and Banelings off of no saturation of the third for the most part. So this is that weird thing that's like, it's not good, but it's so not good that it becomes kind of good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Here we go. And the thing is, Zeal's doing such a good job of getting this information. He saw this earlier. He saw it now, so he's got sentries. There's no answer for the sentries, by the way. There's no Ravagers or something like that. He could just miss these, but as you pointed out in that other game, they were fantastic.
If there's one thing you can always credit Zeal to, is that he had on-point sentry control from his Heart of the Storm and Legacy of the Void days. And, okay, a couple of Banelings do get forward in the full wraparound from the Lings, but the rest of the force fields are pretty solid.
As you were saying it, though, they actually kind of just walked right past, and I'm like, come on. This isn't even a curse at this point in time. It's just like a weird coincidence. But here we go.
Banelings slow leveling forward. Oh my god, the stasis trap actually derps out a bunch of these Banelings. They're sitting behind things. The Adept count has fallen pretty drastically, and NoRegret is starting to make some headway here, but as soon as those Banelings get taken care of, there's just not a lot left.
He'll do some damage, and it's going to get scary. Some stuff's coming off here, but it's an all-in. Keep that in mind. So it has to kill him. It can't just do good damage. It looks like he might have won the third, and he's going to pick it off, making some Banelings behind us. So I was saying nah, but you know what, bruh? Yeah. Switch it to a yeah. That was good. He's just got to win. He's got to do it over here.
Okay, he's starting to poke on forward. He's got 13 Banelings being made, by the way, and unfortunately he doesn't have any Baneling speed ever coming on up, so.
Zeal, careful.
Sentries don't have that much energy left over. He's really got to be on point with these force fields. Those are some really, really solid force fields given the situation. I mean, given the situation, they were pretty solid, but it's still just an awkward position.
He's super dead. And I knew it from the beginning too, man.
Shield Battery is going to try and keep some of these units alive. That Wallen is That's a really nice wall in.
Is it?
That's a really nice wall in. Okay, with the once pylons, please don't.
I feel like we're missing harass in the background, right? The Zerg's losing stuff up there.
Yeah, he lost a few units to the Warp Prism.
Was it a Warp Prism drop again?
It was a Warp Prism drop.
Man,
Yeah.
those pesky Warp Prism drops.
All right.
Oh my
Hydras
God.
are all getting taken care of, though. Yeah, he's holding this. I really think the Wallen helped a lot.
He's got 37 drones behind this.
Oh, man. Zeal, okay, he is starting to move a little too far forward. The shield battery's also out of energy. The Immortal's going to help out a lot, but he doesn't have another one coming out. Zealots are getting warped in now. They do have charge, but NoRegret is getting really close to breaking this again.
It's 22 Lings behind this, though. Like, it's those 3 Hydras, and that's it, actually.
If it keeps those Hydras alive.
Lings. Okay, get us a shot of the Zerg base, though. I feel like there has to be more.
Nope.
Oh, we didn't see the Warp Prism smash some more drones, probably.
No, this is the same number of drones as before.
I know.
Okay.
Making a joke about a Warp Prism fighting there.
Okay.
But Baneling's being morphed. Is he warping sentries? That's 2 more sentries. Nice.
Cybernetic score is getting really low.
No, you can't go out. What are you doing? It's NoRegret.
This is like the 3rd time he's almost done
God.
this. Force Field does pop out, and he only picks off one of the Banelings. One of the other Banelings does get pretty low on hit points. Cybernetic score gets taken care of, and I don't think there's another.
No.
No more sentries.
It's just Zealots for right now, which is actually okay for NoRegret. Oh, he's out of Force Field.
Baneling. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Doesn't lose too much over there.
Oh, but there's more.
Banelings come moving on forward. A couple of pros being pulled off the line as well. One of the gateways does go down, but the Zealots are holding the line a little bit. The Immortal is putting in some serious work.
The Phoenix actually picked up a Hydra.
I don't think it lasted very long. The Immortal's up to 17 kills, and it is getting some serious value, but now the Lings come forward, and that's it. GG.
Oh my God.
NoRegret with the 4.5-minute all-in.
Oops, everyone.
Takes the game.
Congratulations to NoRegret, but I'll tell you what, watching that, my skin is crawling.
I mean, that's
so
true
frustrating
NA.
to watch.
That's true NA. That's the most NoRegret way you could win.
That is, please, sir, give that to NoRegret. Does that happen on NA? Sure, but come on. 3 drones in the 3rd and just go. Oh my God, a more iconic pair you cannot name than what we just saw right there. That is. But he got a win, and on this stage, and he's now 1 map away from advancing to the decider match, which is just bonkers to think about, but it could happen.
Yeah. And of course, it's a little bit of a misnomer. Some people think that NoRegret only has very short games, but oftentimes his games are very long. It's just that the all-in lasts for 5 minutes. So
yeah, but I picture it like it's like 2 heavyweight boxers in the final rounds where they're both kind of like throwing 2 punches every 3 minutes. They're both exhausted and beaten up, and then it kind of goes long. Zeal's going to be kicking himself there too. This will be a nice mental check for him because he was just a couple of decisions away from shutting this down and being okay. I think one of the weird ones to think about, and this is tough. This is not like a cut and dry, by the way, but instead of the 1 shield battery having like 4 over at the natural, there was not a lot of space to build that because of the weird wall in. But that kind of decision making, and I very often see this from Neeb. Neeb's like one of the best about that, where he's like, oh, you're attacking me, 7 shield batteries. And all of a sudden, these fights, now of course the Banelings are still really strong there, but if you land those good force fields, cut out some of the Lings, shield batteries get you through that fight. Again, I'm not saying that it's like, wow, Jeff, you're so smart. No. But that is one of the things you'll notice a Neeb do versus kind of the rest of us.
yeah, that's absolutely true. And we end up seeing how important that shield battery was in holding off versus the early rounds of aggression, at least. That was what made all of those defenses look really one-sided. And then it was later on the shield battery runs out of energy, and it's like, oh, actually all of my Zealots are dying to Lings, even after all the Banelings are gone.
Specifically with the Immortal. The Immortal, because it was never, towards that end of the stage, it was not like 20 Hydras, and of course the Immortal doesn't really impact that. It was like 4 or 5. At most, where the Immortal is kind of the deciding factor. So anyways, that's some things to think about for you guys back at home, and certainly Zeal and NoRegret here. We're going to enter into game number 3 here on Dreamcatcher. This is a map that I think we've seen in every best of 3 this entire day.
It's become kind of like the overgrowth of this season's map pool, where you get to see it pretty consistently. It's funny because I also feel like it was the map that at the very beginning of the season ladder map pool, I heard a bunch of people complaining about it. And now it's like super standard.
Well, and what you're talking about, I would say it's like literally been the last week or 2, because before this, Catalyst, Acid Plant, I would say those are the like super common maps, and they still are. But now we're seeing Dreamcatcher here in every single best of 3.
Next up, Redshift.
Okay, that'd be real crazy.
All right, spawning up here in the top left, we have our Red Zerg player from Nerd Street Gamers, able to put one on the board in that last game. It is NoRegret. Really believing in that double extractor trick.
Yeah.
And his opponent spawning down here in the bottom right-hand side of the map, we have our blue Protoss player. He is Zeal.
And that last game kind of, again, putting on stage for us the development of a player like Zeal. Like I loved the Adepts getting forward, trying to poke for some aggression, but noticing that it was the Zerg player that was fixing on being aggressive. And instead of making the mistake of being like, well, I have Adepts, I have an upgrade, that means I fight here, he wisely backs off, warps in sentries, and makes it about a game of defending the third. The unfortunate part was, you know, he lost that game, and then that was it. But I do like the little things that he's doing that are signs of greatness. It's just about getting that experience and executing at a higher level, which is, of course, the story for everybody, but it's kind of cool seeing some talent here.
Yeah, I think Zeal he's been around in the scene for a while, and again, it kind of goes back to the fact that, and I don't mean this as an insult, but just he is a bit of a ladder hero. He's had a lot of success in the ladder, but hasn't quite been able to translate that into tournament success as much as a lot of other people have in the past. So this is maybe one of those chances that he gets. Again, he's had a big, long break. He wasn't that active in 2017, 2016, but now he has a chance again as he comes back to StarCraft and gets a little bit more active and try and turn things around.
Yeah, I think it's the beginning of it. That's the. I think about this a lot, but that's the hard path of StarCraft, right? Like if he beats NoRegret here, do people talk about that for months to come? No, they don't. If he beats NoRegret here and then eventually beats Kane or Masa and makes it out of the group, do people talk about that? Still no, probably not. You have to go to the playoffs and make a dent there, and that's just the high standard that we expect from StarCraft players as StarCraft fans, and that's a good and bad thing, right? Like people put in a lot of work. You're playing against other people trying to do the same thing. It's really hard. There's thousands of dollars on the line. WCS points is a very big deal, but yet we still really only celebrate the people that truly distinguish themselves.
Okay, well, Jeff, I want to actually bring your attention to the Baneling nest that actually just got plopped down, and the fact that Zeal is still scouting around to that probe. There are two potential third locations, and I don't believe the probe is technically scouted the other third location. He gets picked off by the Queen. He may have realized what's going on, though, with a couple of lings, or a lot of lings now out on the map.
So NoRegret did as good a job as he could of trying to block that. He actually used the Queen and held the lings back to pick it off at the ramp, so I don't know that he got a line of the minute, because if you look at the natural minute line, no drones, by the way. So had he have seen that, then he would have known. To your point, yes, the traditional third wasn't taken, and he didn't see the other third, so he may or may not know. He's warping in a non-sentry, so my thing is maybe not.
That might just be, he does have a gas for it, but he's getting up a Phoenix after this. The Oracle is going to be at home, though. It's going to be able to maybe pick off one Baneling. That's all it's going to be able to get, though, and the wall is going to be down. But there's a secondary wall, and this wall, Zeal's walls have been really solid this series.
It's a wall, man. You're not getting through that. And I'll tell you what, if that's a normal wall, you get through that. That's the amazing part, right? Like, if it's just an Adept and then there's an open space behind that, unless you have a probe there ready to go, you are going to get busted. But I don't know if I would love to hear from Zeal. Not that we have the chance, but Zeal, when you watch this, I'd love to hear if you specifically wall in this way because it's NoRegret, or if you always do.
Well, with a second shield battery and a third shield battery on the way,
it's not happening.
In control, he's feeling it.
Yeah. It would be amazing to lose from here. 22 workers versus the 36 of the Protoss. He's got Stargate tech versus a guy that did not develop his tech at all. He's not even mining gas.
Oh, he only has one queen. He has a second and third queen on the way, but the Oracle's here.
And this is so funny. Watch. The Protoss is going to back off because he's like, well, I mean, of course you've got another queen or two there.
Yep.
And then the information that we know is that guy could dispel all of his energy and kill probably 9 or 10 drones, no problem. But he doesn't know that, so he's not going to. And that's fine. It's not a mistake. It's just kind of a funny result of this.
Yeah.
But this Protoss player is so far ahead. Holy cow.
Yep. And I was going to be taking those gas guys. I think one of the weird things in these kind of situations, sometimes for a Protoss player, is do you follow this up with a big two-base attack, or do you follow this up with a third?
Well, you do what he's doing right now. He's checking around the map to make sure there's not like 500 Zerglings somewhere waiting for a counterattack. And then you go take an expand and just keep scouting. And that's what Oracles are going to do. And that's the really hard spot for Mr. NoRegret here. He's going for a 2-base lair which maybe something weird happens, but it would be completely reliant on him not knowing that. The likelihood of Zeal not seeing this coming is like 0. It would be amazing if he didn't see this coming. He keeps not seeing the third, right? So he's going to go into the main eventually because he's like, well, what the hell is going on?
Still not going to the main.
No, but he's scouting every base on the map. We'll get to it. He's just like, what? You're that dead?
Okay.
I love this. He's adding gateways. That's exactly what you do.
Yeah. Overlord is going to get picked off over in the main base. Looks like Zeal is finally trying to knock down the very, very long wall in by taking out one of the many shield batteries. There's the Hydra Den coming down from NoRegret on 2 bases.
And like Nidus maybe or something?
I think he's still trying to figure out what he's going to do.
Like, pause 1 second, guys. The headphones are not working.
3rd base is also down for NoRegret, so.
I mean.
All right.
Wow.
All right. Well, Zeal is going to do his absolute best to just try and hold on to this situation. And finally, the Oracles are going to make their way over to the main base. They throw down a Revelation. They don't quite catch the Hydra Den with the Revelation, but he sees everything. And the Oracles are in high enough number. They can just ignore the Spore Crawler.
It's just such a funny thing here where he's like, you've never seen a more unsure person find out how ahead they are. He's like, he scouted every base. He went in there to scout the main, realized that he literally has 1 queen and a Spore Crawler. He's like, I guess I'll just go ahead and grab 8 drones as well. Yeah, and there's no wrong choice.
This is how you play versus NoRegret, though, because you don't ever want to find yourself in a situation where you're...
NoRegret played himself, my man. He went for a Ling bust against a double wall-in. And by the way, kudos to NoRegret, because that's just a gamble. So if it works, we're like, oh my god, he's so aggressive and so smart. It didn't work, so he's dead. And that's just the gamble you take. If he's able to come back from that, I will herald him a hero, man. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, but I
look
think
at that. He's going to make hiders into that.
Yep. That is...
That's already the army.
That's probably not going to go very well.
He's going to go Lurker Den. He's not... He is, right?
Yeah, it has to be. I think he's going to try and go for like a Lurker drops or something. Right?
Sure. Or at least just Lurker hold. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah.
But he just... You can't just make hydras. Like, he scouted that army and was like, oh. If that was Zealots, maybe, you know? You can make a bunch of Banelings and hydras, sure.
He hasn't... Okay, he has seen the Lurker Den, because the revelation from the lair actually reveals the Lurker Den. All right. Well, Robo is on the way. There's going to be potential for the Observers as well as the Oracles that are still alive.
Second Robo.
Oh, yeah. There's already Immortals being produced. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, it's just... This is, you know, it's like this is the 6th inning of a baseball game, but one team's up 30. And we're like, we are charged with commentating the last 3 innings. The other team's sending out their 3rd stringers. It's like, I'm going to go Lurkers. What do you got? Oh, you already have 6 Immortals by the time I finished my Lurker Den? Okay.
All right. Nice little Baneling run by attempt over here for NoRegret getting set up. Unfortunately, there isn't... Oh, there's actually going to be some saturation over the 3rd, but looks like Zeal does catch wind of this. He sends some Zealots over there.
There's that support of Mom Ravi again, though. It's a nice attempt in vision of the base. I would call that a bad attempt myself. I'm the unsupportive angry father, I suppose. You're the loving, like, oh, good idea.
I can't hate on my NA players too much.
I'm not hating.
Yeah.
Come on now. Okay, he's taking a 4th base. So I've spent a lot of time on how dead NoRegret is. What could he do to be alive? It's never attack. He unfortunately cannot do that. He just needs to make so many Lurkers and hold these 4 bases and hope that Zeal just gets it in his mind that he has to attack and fight into a bad fight. And then maybe from there he can snowball.
I think the way he wins this is Zeal
oh my God,
continues to lose his Oracles. And he's already down to just 1 Oracle.
Ravi.
He only has 1 Observer.
Zeal stopped making probes at 53. He does this. He's done. So this actually becomes possible. Not likely, by the way. The Zerg's down 60 supply. Do not think for 1 second Jeff's like, I'm sitting here going, oh my God, the Zerg's going to win. But of the ways he could win, it would be Lurkers just going absolutely ham and the Protoss, for some reason, not making any economy behind it. What are those lurkers doing? Holy cow.
Burrowing very aggressively right now. The Revolution is throwing down on almost every single one of these lurkers. There's no backbone to the army for NoRegret. And Zeal, he takes some damage from these lurkers, but he's going to be pretty okay with that trade.
Yeah, he's trading the game for those poor saps that died, I guess. That's it. GG. I am...
Zeal is going to move on to the Deciders match, and he's going to be facing off versus the loser of the winner's side match, which is going to be Masa versus Kane, our next match. But yeah, that was an interesting series. That was a fun series for me.
Oftentimes I get like an idea in my head, and I'm a little bit too stubborn to like, I just kind of keep thinking that idea. So I'm trying to put the shoe on the other foot and think to myself, okay, cutting workers, what does that do? The army gets gigantic. It's very inflated. I really am uncomfortable with when you're way ahead making that choice, because something goes awry. When you cut workers in StarCraft, you specifically have less options as opposed to more. It just kind of becomes a singular, this army has to do it for me. But he won so convincingly. It was never going to go any other way. So I want to try to not be too locked on to that. But
I think one of the reasons why I'm not 100% sure if this is the exact reason, but you have to remember that the earlier part of that game was a bunch of bailing busts and all these weird things. So the third base doesn't come down at around 4 minutes to 5 minutes like a Protoss third base normally would. So the main base is actually getting really close to mining out. You're not really getting that much value, I think, out of the additional workers at that point. If you want to grab a fourth, yeah, you probably want more workers, but
I have like a duty to our listeners to disagree with you.
Really?
No. To your point, yes, the main is getting mined out, so you don't traditionally want the 66 for 3-base full saturation, but you keep making workers because any kind of harass of the third, and all of a sudden you're now not mining off of any. If you want to take a fourth where you have no probes to transfer, that option's closed off. He doesn't mind the gas, so if he's like, I want an Archon transition because this guy's going really heavy lanes, can't do it, doesn't actually have the resources.
That's fair.
It really only becomes a question of, because that army was really large. That's what he's doing. It's just all his money's going to the army. That's it. But we saw what happened with Mousa. He was way ahead, no question about it. Cleans up the Terran army big time, and then just can't kill him. So the Terran just techs up further, and he dies.
All right.
But it won. It worked this time. He won the series. Congrats.
All right. And with that, we have two final matches listed out. We got Masa versus Kane in that winner's match to decide who's going to move on to the playoffs in Group A in the #1 seed spot, followed up by the other match. But first, Masa versus Kane.